Hello, everybody. Welcome along to Premier League predictions for round 35. Apologies for last week. Mikey had the temerity to go off on holiday with his lovely family, so we weren't here. But we are now back. Mikey, are we on a collective sulk, being Ipswich have been relegated now, or are we going to power on through professionally here?
We will power on through, Ben. It's not ideal, is it, being relegated at any stage, but having the 4 games left is a little bit of a sickener, isn't it? But we'll carry on. And the Ipswich game this weekend does at least have some interest due to the stadium that we're playing in.
There we go. Get involved in the comments. We want you to stay professional and get your predictions in. You'll find the fixtures down there in the description. Give yourself 1 point for a correct outcome, home, away, or draw. Give yourself 3 points for a correct scoreline. I might just go all in on bonus points, which you get for 5 or more goals, because as you all know, I am 16-9 behind in the weekly, so I'm not going to be winning any gongs for this one. Last round was 33, a 5-all draw. Mikey, I would have won it. You snuck in the last minute with a correct bob on to equalise with Spurs 1, Forest 2. Let's get into the round 35 business. And are you going to be predicting a 100th straight win for Wolves, who visit Man City?
Yeah, these are 2 of the league's informed teams, Ben. They've had tumultuous campaigns at times, but both of them coming good. I mean, for Man City, ultimately, it is slightly too late for them, but they're still finishing on a bit of a high. They've reached the FA Cup final, easily swept aside Nottingham Forest at the weekend. And Wolves, as you mentioned, 6 wins in a row. Absolutely incredible. The informed team in the league. There's more pressure on City here because they need to look after business for Champions League qualification. It would be a complete disaster for them to miss out. Wolves are trying to finish as high as they can, and they've crept up nicely into lower mid-table. And they can definitely hurt this Manchester City team if they're not on it. But I just think with so much on the line for City, I think they'll have enough about them to get a win here. So I'm going Manchester City 2, Wolves 1.
Yeah, that's a scribble for me. I was going exactly the same prediction, exactly the same logic, that Wolves have been really, really excellent. But when the chips are down, the Man City quality will just shine through. So that means I will go rogue and actually predict Wolves to get something. And they're good in all facets of the game. Can they score 2? Mikey, can they score 2 at Etihad?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Should I go for Desmond? We're going to throw in a Desmond straight away. Look, if I can claw back some kind of points in the aggregate, that will do me. So I will go for Wolves and not the 100th straight win. What is it? Would it be 6?
So this will be 7.
7? Jesus Christ. I'll go for the Desmond. So the winning run to end, but still a decent result. Aston Villa versus Fulham, Mikey, you're going to tell me is rather important in terms of the European race, with Aston Villa kind of, well, the outsiders really, especially given games in hand and the power of the teams above them. But they're a very good side. And is it must win, Mikey?
Yeah, I think it is. They're down in 7th now, and you worry for Villa if they lose a home game against Fulham, whether they can bounce back and get the points that might not even be enough if they don't win this one.
I'll go for the win then. They must win. They will win. Always like Emery. I think Fulham are now going to be approaching the beach like you and I are on with these predictions. But I'll go for a clean sheet win. I'll go for a 1-0, Mikey. Villa 1, Fulham 0.
A nervy 1-0. I think it's going to be a little bit more comfortable for Villa. I've got them winning 3-1. They need to bounce back quickly from that FA Cup semi-final against Palace. Completely swept aside there. They had 1 or 2 chances. Leon Bailey was quite lively off the bench, but yeah, a really bad day at the office for them. Fulham, on the other hand, they kept their Europa hopes alive with a last gasp win at Southampton, and they're only 1 place below Villa now, would you believe? But Aston Villa do have a good recent record against Fulham, especially under Unai Emery. They've won 6 of their last 7 against them.
Okay, you get to go first. Sorry, Mikey, what didn't write your prediction?
I went 3-1 to Aston Villa.
3-1, yes, you did, Chris. You get to go first on Ipswich this week. Everton versus Ipswich. And as you mentioned, the penultimate game at Goodison. They're not going to stick a friendly in after the season's done, are they? Or anything silly like that?
I don't think so. I don't think that would be their style either. So Everton, this is their final Saturday 3 p.m. fixture. So the last sort of
Took 'em off.
traditional looking game for them. I'm going to this one, just stadium pervert that I
Lovely.
am, Ben, even though it's a dead rubber for
Have you
Ipswich.
been before?
I have been before, but in a work capacity, and the work was a bit of a disaster on that day. So I didn't really get to fully enjoy it. I couldn't connect to Wi-Fi. That's the beauty of Goodison Park, though, Ben. Ipswich have won on their last 2 visits. If you can think back far enough to the last time we were in the Premier League, to Marcus Stewart. Actually, no, I think the first one was Marcus Stewart inspired, and the second one was Matt Holland inspired. Scored a fantastic indirect free kick. I think Sixto Peralta might have scored as well. But Ipswich have been woefully out of form since the turn of the year, and recent performances haven't been good. Everton weren't particularly adventurous at Chelsea, but almost nicked a point. Dwight McNeil came close. I expect him to start in this one. He gave Ipswich all sorts of problems in the reverse fixture at Portman Road. In fact, Everton probably one of the best performers at Portman Road in the early part of the season, despite not really pulling up any trees under Sean Dyche. I think Breuer might start this game if he's fit. He came supposedly pretty close to joining Ipswich. That in the end worked out well for us because he's been injured for so much of the season. I think this is maybe quite predictable of me. I'm going for Ipswich to get a 1-1 draw at a game that I'm making the effort to go to, Ben. And I think, Ipswich will take a lot of pride from that. I think Everton will find it incredibly frustrating not to put away a relegated team, but they're just not winning many games at the moment.
It's another scribble, Mikey. I was going to go 1-1, as in, I think you get that point, don't you, where you're emotionally attached to the team. You don't want to predict them to lose, but you don't have the confidence for them to win. I think we both agree it's going to be low margin. We like David Moyes, and he's good from that regard. So I hate to do it. This is really horrible. It's going to ruin your day out as well. But let me go Everton 1, Ipswich 0. Don't kill me in the comments. Let's move quickly on.
Not the worst result, Ben.
Stop it. Well, surely the biggest game of the weekend here, a absolute copper bottom smash mega game. It's Leicester versus Southampton here. I mean, it's a clash of the Titans, a championship fixture next year, 19th against 20th. And I dare say with our Ipswich hats on, come on Southampton, and can they get themselves... What do they need? 12 points to beat Derby's total. Is that right?
I think they only need one more point to beat it. They've leveled it. So one more draw in their final few games, and this possibly their best chance.
They're not going to get it, Mikey. I'm going to back a Leicester win here, which is problematic for Ipswich, but the goal difference works in the 18th place trophy tournament here. Although you've got Ipswich drawing, so it's an irrelevance in your prediction land. I will go Leicester. I've done 2 straight 1-0s. I can't do another. Let's go 2-1, even though I think it's going to be tight. Leicester 2, Saints 1.
Okay. As this is a championship fixture, Ben, I bow to your superior knowledge. I'm not going to go into any detail here apart from saying that I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Southampton have been better in recent weeks and have looked pretty competitive. So I think this is the game where they get over that dreaded line. I think they're going to win this game. I'm going for 2-1.
I've taken 2-1, Mikey. You're going to scribble that?
2-1 for Southampton.
Oh, beg your pardon. Okay. You don't have to scribble that one out, mate, at all. Now, you might remember at the end of last season, it was an incredible game. Probably the best I think Leicester played all last season. I think it was 5-0 or 5-1. And Abdul Fatawu, that might have been the best individual performance I saw in the championship last season as well in that game. So Saints fans have not got good memories of visiting. I was going to say Filbert Street then. What does that date me by that?
Well, there is a little bit, if we're going to go into detail, there is a little bit of history here with these two clubs, because Leicester obviously famously won 9-0 at Southampton and really rubbed it in the faces of Southampton fans. And then Southampton went to Leicester a few weeks later and managed to win. So there is a little bit of needle between the two clubs in recent history.
You talk about finding needles in a haystack. Football fans will find needle in any haystack. Don't you worry about that, Mikey. The Aaron Ramsdale derby is Arsenal versus Bournemouth.
Yeah, Arsenal underwhelming I'd probably say, against a really good Paris Saint-Germain team. So much atmosphere in the ground before the game, and then firstly the minute silence for the Pope, and then the early goal for PSG sort of took the energy out of the Emirates Stadium somewhat. I expect that Arteta will shuffle the pack to some extent, but also try and get his good players playing well and scoring goals in this game. Bournemouth can still finish as high as 8th, but only one win in 9 for them. Unlucky not to beat Manchester United last week. Evan Nielsen's red card has been rescinded, so he's able to lead the line for Bournemouth, although I actually think Bournemouth's best spell this season came when he was out and Dango Utara was playing out of position in the middle. But that obviously might be a bit of a coincidence. Arsenal always win this fixture, Ben. 23 goals scored across 8 home meetings. An incredible record against Bournemouth. You might remember Reece Nelson scoring a 96-minute winner, which looked like it was one of those goals that looked like it was going to win
not in there,
the
Mikey.
title
I'm
for
not
Arsenal.
remembering that.
Okay. Arsenal fans will definitely remember it, and Bournemouth fans certainly will. I'm going for Arsenal to win this one slightly more comfortably than that day. I'm going Arsenal 3, Bournemouth 1.
I knew you were going to do that. I was almost scribbling my 3-1 out beforehand and prepping in my head to think, well, I think it's a 3-1. He's going to go 3-1. I'm miles behind. Why wouldn't I just go 4-1? I'm going to do that. Although, can I just apologise for the disrespect to Bournemouth there? I don't think they're 3 goals worse than Arsenal, but Mikey's taken my prediction, and I don't see them scoring twice, whereas I think Arsenal might be able to score 4 with a fair wind. Brentford versus Manchester United. Now, we're recording on Thursday. Manchester United have a really important game. Are they away tonight, Mikey?
Yeah, they're away at Athletic Club of Bilbao.
Ooh. Right. That means Brentford are going to win this fixture then. I think we're into the Sunday games now, aren't we? That is emotional, difficult. Just as soon as you say the name of that club, you're like, oh, that's a hard away trip. It's going to take a lot of energy. Like Brentford at home. God, I haven't forecast an away win yet, Mikey. Maybe I should have backed Ipswich. Let's go 1-0. No, too many of them. 2-0 Brentford.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to take the 2-1 Brentford. I also fancy them. Let's not forget, though, Ben, that Brentford do have a difficult game against Nottingham Forest that's also tonight. So it's not like they have it's not a massive advantage. Obviously, Forest are a great side. Athletic Bilbao is a different proposition going there away. But yeah, Brentford will have a fair bit taken out of them, and they've had a lot of injuries over the course of the season. Just word on Manchester United, they could finish 17th, Ben. And the highest they can finish is probably 13th. So an absolute car crash of a season for them. And I think it would be fitting for them to lose against Athletic Bilbao to a degree that means that they've got little chance of progressing next week, and then follow it up with a defeat at Brentford as well.
Brighton versus Newcastle, Mikey.
Yeah, this is a nice fixture, isn't it, Ben? Incredible drama at the Amex last week, and 2 simply sensational goals that saved my Netbusters show, really, Ben. Iari bending one in from 30 yards, and then Belieber doing the same, coming up clutch in injury time. And Brighton really needed that to have any chance of European qualification. Brighton thrashed Newcastle at home last season. They went to St James's Park and won 1-0 in the league early this season. And they also knocked them out impressively out of the FA Cup just a month ago, or just over a month ago. Danny Welbeck scored in both of those last 2 games that I mentioned. So I'm going to back him to score in this game. I can't quite bring myself to have Brighton winning it, though. I think this would be a decent point for Newcastle on their road to Champions League qualification, with a 2-2 draw at the Amex.
I'm going to steal a line from you. It's really hard to predict teams that have just beaten the team you support quite handily, isn't it? You just assume that, they must be brilliant. If they can beat Ipswich Town, they must be a hell of a side, Newcastle. So that we've both fallen over that this season, haven't we? But it's just that weird Villa defeat where they got absolutely whopped Newcastle, didn't they? I do fancy them, and I do like them, like you say, for 3rd place or maybe 4th in Champions League. So I'll back the away win. And I'll back both teams to score as well. I really wanted to get an away win in here, didn't I, Mike? Let's go 2-1 to the Magpies. And it's West Ham versus Tottenham. And is there a manager probably less wants to go to work than Ange Postecoglou at the moment? And he's got to go to West Ham as well, where he's going to get barracked, isn't he, by the Hammers fans. I think he might get something though, mightn't he? Because West Ham are stinking it out a little bit at the moment. The man who runs the shop over the road says that Potter and Fulkrug have been disagreeing with one another, and the fans all agree with Fulkrug. Someone about Tottenham for that reason. I didn't need to be in such a hurry to get an away win there, did I, Mikey? 2-0 Spurs. West Ham 0, Spurs 2.
Okay, yeah, I've also got Spurs winning, but more narrowly a 2-1 win. This is 16th against 17th, Ben. Badly out of form. And this is a London derby, Ben. Spurs are in European action tonight as well, but it still hasn't been picked for TV on Sunday. Just shows how far they've fallen this season, both of them. West Ham a little bit unlucky to lose at Brighton last week, but these things keep happening to West Ham. So that's why I can't bring myself for them to win at home, even against Tottenham. Tottenham Hotspur, sorry, Ben. Or Spurs. Never Tottenham.
Oh, okay. A bit like Plymouth, yeah? So Argyle or Plymouth Argyle, yeah?
Yeah, that's something that was announced earlier this season from Spurs, by the way. That's not me making things up.
There you go. Chelsea versus Liverpool, Mikey. You can never have too much of a good thing, but Chelsea versus Liverpool in the mid-noughties was too much of a good thing, wasn't it? Too many times. But Liverpool on the beach.
I don't know. I don't know. This is a really hard one to call. I think ultimately Liverpool have got enough squad players that are just going to be desperately trying to win a place in the team for next season. That might carry them to a few more wins, and they're just a far superior team and unit to Chelsea. But as you say, the league is won, but I think they'll have some energy left, and they'll want to deny Chelsea Champions League football partly because of the aforementioned games in the noughties. There's a bit of a healthy rivalry between the two clubs. Must give a shout out to Sanchez, who I've criticised at times this season in goal for Chelsea. He had a really good game against Everton, got them the win there, but he's going to be really busy in this one. And I'm going to go for Liverpool to win it. I'm going Chelsea 1, Liverpool 3.
Okay. I will raise you and play for a bonus point. You see my tactics here this week. I'm just going Hail Mary on everything. I'm the equivalent of just booting the ball into the box and sticking my centre back up front here, aren't I?
You have Neil Warnock here.
No, don't speak about the great man like that. Deary me, Mikey. You check out my amazing interview with the GOAT Neil Warnock here on the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel, recorded this time last year. A great honour for me to speak to the great man. I'll go 3-2 then, Mikey. 3-2 Liverpool. I've got two scenarios here. I've got that where it's loose, both teams to score. Agree with you, Liverpool superior side, football of the year. I don't know when they announced that, but it's Mo Salah, isn't it? The other thing I can see happening is Chelsea winning 3-0. And that would require Liverpool being on the beach. But I think if I went Chelsea 3-0, people would just think I'm very silly. So I'll go for the slightly more likely. But let it be known, I'm hedging my bets and saying it is a possibility. Chelsea 2, Liverpool 3. So Palace and Forest, is that later? That's Monday night. Yeah, that's going to be a huge one for Forest, isn't it? I've got low margin in my head, Mikey. Palace are in the cup final, though, aren't they? So can I play distraction games with Palace? Are you going to be going to the cup final with your missus then?
No. You can't. I don't think that's an event.
Oh, you're Mr. Attendance Police, aren't you? She's going to go there, isn't she?
Yeah, she's going. Yeah, I wouldn't feel right taking a place in the Palace end.
There you go. Look the high moral ground taken by Mr. Pentti-Smith. You've got,
and also somebody's got to look after our darling son as well. So, yeah.
I'd like to say I will be attending my 7-team straight playoff final later in May. I don't have an equally high moral standing as Mikey.
But there's way more tickets available for playoff finals, Ben. Whereas FA Cups, it's such a reduced.
I know. We could get Sunderland. Sunderland, Sheffield United would sell out, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah,
Trying to
no,
think
sorry,
of
reduced
commentary.
allocations. Reduced
Oh, I
allocations,
see what you mean.
not
Yeah.
capacity. The playoffs final will have the same attendance, 100%. But the FA Cup final tickets, I think you get 15,000 each, if that. So
Ouch.
yeah, I can't take one.
I've been backing Forest all season, so I've got to stick with it for Europe. And I know the game in hand is essentially tonight, isn't it? And we don't know what's happened in that. So I'm going to go a classic 1-0 Forest away that I've had plenty of success with this season. What say you, Mikey?
Yeah, I've got Forest winning narrowly as well. A 2-1 win, and it might be must win because that Brentford game tonight isn't going to be easy for Forest.
No.
They need some wins between now and the end of the season. Obviously, I'm sure that Palace fans are going to be taunting Forest with chance of we're going to Wembley, but if Forest can turn it around, they'll be singing about Europe next season, which is pretty much guaranteed for them, isn't it?
And prepped as well. Mr. Marianakis has done his financial maneuverings, which means he can't be in conflict with the other club he owns. But yes, let's not get into multi-club ownership to finish this show. Mikey, brilliant. Thank you so much for coming on as ever. Get your predictions in the comments. Point for a correct outcome, 3 for a correct scoreline, 4 for your bonus point. And I have played plenty of them this week. We will be back next week with more Premier League predictions. Come and join us on the lovely predictions beach as we see out the final games of the season. Thanks for watching. See you next time.